All right, we got Mr. Baca's 2017 Lexus GS350 F Sport back in here today. She has some leaking rear struts, so we're gonna get them swapped out for her. And we're gonna dive right into this. Before I get started, I will say I will have a link to some KYB replacements up here in the video and in the description below. But otherwise, we're gonna dive right into this. It's a pretty straightforward repair, nothing too crazy. You're gonna wanna make sure you empty out your trunk. So once you got that emptied out, we're gonna go ahead and start pulling panels. You got the ones that just lift out on the sides. I just threw my tools on top of that one. So we'll get these out and set on the roof. All right, now we are going to lift up this main spare tire cover and get this out of here. But now we need to get this panel off here. So we got push pins. We got one here, one here, and one over here. So it looks like 3 total push pins. And we should be able to pull this plastic panel out of here. So we're gonna get our push pin removal tool. Just get to pulling. They're just little Christmas tree pins like that. Okay. So we're going to use a different style trim stick and come up here on the top and see if it feels like it has push pins here, which it does. You just got to go down it and get all these upper push pins released. Just like that. Now it's being held in by these side trays here. Don't you love how much integrated plastic all these new cars have these days? Yay. So now we gotta figure out how this comes out. Bet you underneath here we'll find a bolt. It's that little flathead. What do you know? 10mm bolt right there. See if this will pop up. Oh. So that tray can pop out just like that. Now we got a 10mm and a push pin that just got exposed on this side. We got this push pin right there, which is gonna go in my hand push pins, and now I gotta go grab a 10mm. Back with our 10mm. There we go. That's out. Now this piece of plastic is out, which makes this piece over here nice and free. Coming over to this side, we're gonna find basically the same setup where you lift this tab up, use your tiny flathead or trim removal tool to flip that up for a 10mm, and then we'll use our trim stick to pop this little tray out. This one comes out real easy, and then a push pin right over yonder, and then all this plastic can come out. Yay. Also, I really hope this headlight is giving enough light for you guys. But all right, so now we got to get this side panel off. We got these little hook things. There's a squeeze tabs on either side. You squeeze these tabs and it will come out just like that. This cap will actually ride with it. We got a push pin up in that corner. Then we got this little thing that we know has a 10mm under it, so we'll pop that up just like all the other ones. And then we have this little push pin right here that the primary plastic piece here also clicks through, so we got to pop that out. And then I think we're good to start trying to work this thing this way. I don't think there's anything behind here, but let's take a look. Yeah, nothing there. That can ride with that as well. So let me get those out and then we'll see what it looks like from there. All right, I managed to get this side out without taking off the top actually. So I'm going to show you on this side. It's the exact same. I've already removed all of the fasteners. So once you have the push pin out here, the push pin here, and the 10 mil there, you can free this up. And then you want to just lift up over here and just kind of pop that free, just like that. Then you can rotate this guy around, and this guy will come down just like that. You just got to flex her a little bit. She'll come right on out. Come on. So now all of that was just to be able to get to the top of the rear strut assemblies. So before we do anything here, we need to unplug the AVS sensor. It should rotate and come off just like that. We'll let it down to the side very carefully. We will do the same on this one. Boop, boop. I just rotated those counterclockwise. So now, before you do anything else, if you're on the ground, you need to have it on jack stands, and you need to slide a jack up underneath the rear tire and support it before you unbolt the top of these struts. I'm going to lower it down to where the weight of the car is compressing it, and then I'm going to slowly raise it up, and I'm going to have somebody watch and make sure that it, see what kind of sag we get out of it. And if I have to come back with the jack, I will. But I think it doesn't have enough travel to let the spring out all the way. But we're gonna find out right now. All right, here we are. All three nuts are off. So now we're going to slowly raise it back up and see how much travel we get here. Oh yeah, it has like no travel at all. Okay. Sweet. All right, here we go. Now that the nuts on the top of the strut assemblies are off, we have it supported on the bottom side of the control arm here. There is a little plastic thing right here that's held on with 10 millimeters. It's like a control arm cover. If you put your jack out here, you're not on it, so you don't really have to worry about it. If you're gonna get hit back here on it, you can just take that cover off to make sure you don't damage it. But yeah, you'll see my hands are already dirty. I did the other side first, so I knew what tools I needed and kind of how it all came apart. But we're gonna get right into it. So you'll see, oh, you get a better view over here. So if you look here, right there, this up and down bar, this is a sway bar link. On the other side of it, right here, is the nut that holds it on. We're gonna use this little toothbrush style wire brush because it's a booger to get this thing off. We're gonna clean those threads. And then that is a 17 millimeter. I put a ratchet wrench on it, and then it takes a H6 Allen head in the center. So you put that in there, ratchet that nut off. You can pop that thing off inwards on the control arm. And then we got 2 bolts, and then we just kind of got to use a pry bar and carefully separate everything. And it's easy peasy lemon squeezy from there. All right, here we are. The sway bar link is out. Now we're gonna move down here. This is your shock bolt. There's a nut on the other side. This is a 19 millimeter, both bolt head and nut. So we're gonna zip that one out. Then we're gonna zip this one out. This one might be a booger, so you may end up having to get a pry bar and find some way to pry up or down to move it around. I'll try and get a shot of it whenever I get to it, but it's kind of, you just got to kind of work the spindle around to get it to a point where the bolt can come out, and then getting it in also sucks. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and pop both these 2 bolts out, and then we'll be able to lower this puppy down and fish this strut assembly out. All right, so you'll see I got the shock one out. Now this one, as soon as you start to back this bolt out and it pops through that side of the control arm, see how much it jumped up to the hole? So you kind of gotta put your weight into it, or use one of these lower joints here to get under the control arm and pry up, or to come up here off of this one and lip it down there and pry it down. But you kind of just gotta flex it in there so that way you can get the bolt to get enough tension off of it for it to slide out. It's this is the hardest part of the whole job, is getting that out and then back in without damaging it. But with enough leverage and enough wiggling it and jiggling it and going, it'll pop out. So here is where I got my pry bar wedged up and was able to push it down and get that tension. Oh God, tension off of there. She's springy. She's springy. But yeah, now we can just crank our jack down and slowly lower this and fish out this here strut. All right, now that it's sprung up like that, we can just slowly lower this puppy. Oh wait, one last thing, I'm sorry. One last thing. Up here on this wheel liner, you don't gotta take it all the way out, but you gotta take out this little plastic cap, that plastic cap, that plastic cap, that plastic cap, that plastic cap, to give this enough room to fold back so we can get that whole little assembly out of there. There we go. Now we just lower it on down, boys. There we go. Just lower it till it can slide on out of there, and then voila. Now, real quick, we get to go swap some stuff over. All right, forgive me for the mess back here. This shop is a disaster right now, but something I forgot to do, but I'm pretty sure this was the side. I'm gonna put a little mark here. I'll do it with my fingernail. This is only goes in one direction. I'm pretty sure this is the stud that faces the outside of the vehicle. But we're going to take out this nut right here. To do so, you have to hold this assembly while you shoot it with an impact. It's a 17 millimeter. And then we need to move this boot, this spacer, and the top piece, the wing for the AVS that it snaps on. All that has to get moved over to the new strut. You need to look down at the bushing in here, and I'll show you when I get it apart to make sure that it's not wallowed out. But the other side was perfect, so I imagine this side will be as well. Then you'll look down in that hole, you'll see that it's not wallowed out at all. It's not flaked apart or anything, so we are good to go there. Now we can get rid of this old strut and reassemble the new one. All right, now for reassembly, we are going to slide our new strut, which is a KYB, right into location here. We're gonna drop our washer. We're going to place our little AVS doodatter, and we're going to put our nut back on. Now, what we're going to do here is, in order to get this orientation perfect, you'll have to do a lot of marking and measuring and guessing. So we're going to just barely snug it. Now we can rotate. We can access this inside the trunk. So we're going to put it up here, rotate it how we need, get it all put back together, buttoned up on the bottom side, and then we'll go in the trunk and we're going to torque this when we torque these three nuts. So that's the plan there. So now, all we gotta do is put all that back together. I may show you what I do to get the primary bolt into the spindle, but otherwise it's really easy. You just put all the bolts in that you took out. So then I'll show you that, and then we'll probably move on to the trunk. I figured what the heck, might as well just go through the whole thing. So I slide it into position like this and get the bolt in through the lower control arm on the strut. And now I'm just gonna watch it and guide it with my hands to line up with these holes up here as I crank it up and make sure that it stabs on its way up. I don't know if you can see me from there or not, but maybe you'll get an idea of kind of how this goes. And if you have a jack on the ground, it just means you're gonna need a second person to help you while you go around stabbing everything. In, boys. This is where it gets tricky, just like it did coming out. But if you look here, this thing tends to want to like swing over and catch the control arm there. So we're gonna need to just kind of give it a little persuasion and just flip it. Is that right? I think it's more like this. There we go, just like that. So you're just gonna use a pry bar. Just make sure she don't get caught up while you're going up. As long as it doesn't slip. Okay. Oh shit. Bam. It's not always the by the book way of doing that, running it through like that, but it's fine. There you have it. Now we'll tighten those up. I will put the torque specs up here on the screen because I already forgot they are. I gotta go back to my phone to get them, but for all of the sway bar link and both the bolts, and then I'll button this up and put it back together, and we'll go back up to the trunk and torque those puppies down. I'll see you there. I guess one last thing, just want to show you one more time. I'm laying my crowbar on this bolt head and lifting right there on the control arm to manipulate that spindle end to get it where I want it. All right, here we are back in the trunk. So we are going to go ahead and put these 14 millimeters on, and then what I'm going to do is just snug them up with my ratchet to try and just like that. And then we'll come back down, and these are 74 Newton meters, and the middle one is 18 Newton meters. From that point, you just button the trunk up, and you're good to go. So hopefully this video helped somebody out. If it did, hit that thumbs up button. Let me know if the lighting was all right. I'm just wearing this headlight. I can try and get more in the future if it's too dark, but otherwise, hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more. I almost forgot to remind you to reconnect your little AVS. There we go. There we are, just like that. Just gently go until it falls in, and then rotate it back into place.